Zimbabwe's new digital currency, backed by gold, aims to stabilize the Zimbabwean dollar and protect Zimbabweans from fluctuations. According to Reserve Bank Governor John Mangudia, the digital tokens are already in circulation.
Globally, most central banks are going digital in as far as their currencies are concerned. So here in Zimbabwe, the central bank is introducing a digital gold coin. I think that's in line with global trends, which will actually be used either as a medium of exchange and also as a store of value. So it's basically a currency, but that's in digital form, but which is actually backed by gold. Gold coins are quite valuable because the price of gold is always going up, unlike the price of the USD itself.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. Call HALALYAM, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone to teach them well. Peace and salutations be to the hopeful elect. Remember that Tazamam coming at you from the prophets in Babylon camp here in Tampa, Florida. All right, this is going to be going into Zimbabwe's currency. They're going by digital currency now to back up the current dollar. But, we know that eventually they're going to completely switch to digital currency. And they said the digital currency is backed by gold, but the American dollar is not backed by gold anymore. Okay, so that just goes to show you that they're leaving America in the dust. They're leaving America behind, and the world is switching to another way or form of payment, that America's not going to be accepted. America's way of payment ain't going to be accepted, So America's going to have to, that's going to force America to switch to a new currency, digital currency, which is going to really end up being the MOTB. All digital currency is going to be placed onto the MOTB, which is going to be placed into your hand or in your forehead. All right. You're going to be a walking byproduct of America. You're going to be a walking barcode. Okay. But they got the scriptures on it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So Babylon is falling, man. As you see it, it's falling before our very own eyes. We're watching it fall. All these other nations switching to different currencies. That's going to cause America to result. They're going to have fewer options to trade with. They're going to have fewer options to trade with other countries, because the other countries that trade, they're the main bread supply, the main wheat supply, whatever, the main corn supply. Okay, all these things that they mainly supply and they supply the most of. America ain't going to get it, whether it be oil, gas, food, natural resources. These countries ain't going to trade it with America anymore, because they're going to be on a different currency. And America's trying to fight for that. But guess what? Ultimately, it's going to force America to go into a whole new currency as well, which is going to be digitalized also, just like Zimbabwe's currency is digitalized. Okay, but Babylon going to even proceed to take it a step further. And probably going to take it a step further and put it inside of a C-HIP, so that your funds will be made readily available to you on under the terms that you get a C-HIP implanted within your flesh. Okay. So it says 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And really, they leave in Babylon no choice. Okay, like the scripture says, she shall be had in the straits. Okay, meaning in a hard place. They got you in a hard area. Like, you ain't gonna have no choice but to do what the Lord ordained you to do. No matter how hard you try to avoid it. All roads lead to the MOTB. So it says 2 Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So the sown places, which have food and resources, all these things in them today, guess what? Suddenly, out of nowhere, unexpectedly, they're going to appear empty. You're going to go in there one day and you're going to be able to find the food that you were looking to cook for breakfast. Yesterday it was there, but, the next day you go in, it ain't going to be there, And if it is there, it's going to be expensive as hell, man. People are going to be scouring on the news and scouring on the media and looking up on Google. That's when the internet is going to flood the most before it gets completely taken out. That's when people are looking for answers. They're going to look for answers. They're going to look for the prophets. They're going to look for ways to get food. They're gonna look for places that are giving away food, you know. And it's only so much food. You know how many people there is? You know how many stomachs there is to feed? You know, men at that. Men eat around twice as much as a woman and children do. You know, that's a full-grown man's stomach. That's why when YAHAWASHI had fed the multitude, he said he fed 5,000 men alongside their families. Okay, so it was multiple bellies. The Lord didn't just feed 5,000 men. These men may have had multiple wives and also multiple children. You know, so that number could have been way higher than that, man. Maybe 3 times that. Okay, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And that's when everybody going to really start panicking. It says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. That's when everybody going to get afraid. They're going to suddenly like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? You know? Well, what do you do when you're in a state of emergency like that? They got these sirens all over the streets, you know? They got a siren on like every fucking corner, man. You know? And it's for that area, it's for that vicinity to hear when there's an emergency going on. They're going to announce those sirens. Okay, and that's when you're going to know National Guard is going down. You're going to have to get in your house. They're going to try to bring order out of chaos. But the people are going to become completely chaotic when they see there's no food for them. All right, and food and resources and gas and all that shit comes from trading. That means America's trading with these other countries to get what they need and to supply it to their country, you know? Now we know Esau really taking all the true resources for himself and storing it away somewhere. Okay, this devil's got bunkers full of food that can feed the whole world for 150 years. And that's real food, no GMOs in it, you know? We getting all the fake shit. That's got 1 to 2% real food in it, you know? It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still. So like it, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So friends are gonna fight against each other like enemies because what? They need food, they need resources. They gotta protect the family, feed their children. You're gonna see people really eat each other out here, man. You know, one day your neighbor gonna be gone to cannibalism, and then the other day your neighbor on your other side gonna be gone to cannibalism. You know, and people just getting eaten day by day. I seen a movie, I forget what it was. I think it was The Platform. Basically, the food was going down, and the lower the level you were on, the less food you ate. You know, down to the bottom levels where people were starving, and people were monsters down there on the bottom levels, man. You know, so it was like a moment where they had no food down there, and they had to eat each other, man. You know, so the people found out the main character pretty much got captured by his roommate, the guy that he was teaming up with, because they once ate together, you know. But his roommate he was with, and they found out they had no food. Guess what? He caught him, captured him, tied him up, and he was taking chunks out of his flesh day by day, you know. And he was also feeding him his own flesh and shit, man. I believe that was the same movie, but he's also feeding him his own flesh to preserve him. Okay, that movie showed you what people are gonna do when they get hungry. It shows you the truth, man. And the man seemed like a lunatic, but he was just trying to preserve himself through eating his roommate, you know, taking little chunks out of his legs, okay, and chewing on it, eating it. All right, and then he'll feed him his own self, so that he can stay alive, so that he can eat him some more. That's scary, man. That's what these people gonna really be going through, you know. It says here in the book of Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Why? It says because of the lack of bread. Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So it's going to be a great time of trouble, tribulation, and lack of bread, no food. So they're going to be attacking their neighbors' houses and spoiling their neighbors' houses, taking the food out of their houses and everything out of their houses, you know, meds, food. You play the game, The Last of Us, to show you the stuff that you need to survive, like meds, okay? Meds, many people needed meds. So they're raiding cabinets in that game for medication to heal, all right, for wounds or sicknesses, whatever it may be, or infections. Just in case you scrape yourself from something or you get injured. You know, people had to become their own doctors, their own medics, and they also had to become their own source of food. Okay, they had to find their own food, you know, which we shouldn't have to worry about such a time because the Lord gonna feed us, you know. The Lord gonna take care of us, man. All right, as long as we do good in His eyes and in His sight, we should be fine. All right, so this doesn't really pertain to us, Lord, but let me be those men. It pertains to the world, who belongs to the world. They're gonna get it, man. And then when they need it the most, when they need help the most, and they're so devastated and so desperate, you're still gonna stick their ass with the sea hip, man, with the stick of it. You can have food as long as you get this. We got food and water as long as you take this. You know, trying to establish order out of chaos. You're gonna let the chaos run first, then you're gonna try to establish order out of it. You know, what the scriptures say, when he's about to fill his belly, the Lord shall rain it down upon him. You know, cut his belly open and rain it upon him. All right, so this devil Esau ain't gonna get his way. You know, he ain't gonna completely get satisfied. All right, with that, I truly hope this lesson was edifying to you. YAHWAH, listening to the sincerity. Till next time, I give all glory, honor, praises unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.